Yo guys, what's going on? It's Mr. Klaus here at the official Pay to Play Games YouTube channel, and today marks the first day of college football 26 content. And today's topic of discussion is going to be the defensive line, D-line stunts, how to use them, why to use them, and when to use them. Let's lock in, gang. All right, guys, check it out. So we're in our nickel over G. We're going to pick basic cover 3, offense. We have to play for offense. So first thing we're going to hit is our left on the D line pad, or the D pad, excuse me, and then we're gonna hit RB, and now you're gonna see our stunt selection window, right? And if you hit left on the D pad, or on the D pad, right, you're gonna see that you have 3 screens or 3 versions of this, right? So check it out. The first screen is gonna be dedicated majority to your left line and to the left side of D line activity. Okay, the middle screen is going to be dedicated to the whole D line and middle of the line activity. Okay, and then if we go to the last screen, right, the third screen, you're gonna notice that it's dedicated to the right side of the D line and right side D line activity, if that all makes sense. Okay, so here we are. So we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna hit left on the D pad, RB for stunts. We're in the first screen of your defensive line activity, right? And check this out. I just want you to see. So the play art. This is the D line, basic stock coming out of your play selection. Right? We're gonna stunt. Boom. So let's hit Y. Left exit 2 men. Right? Boom. We hit Y. And let's see. So look, left of the D line, your defensive tackle is doing a stunt to the outside, basically running into the C gap, and then your defensive end is gonna penetrate inside, trying to squeeze the B gap as well as the A gap, and your linebackers have their run fits. All right, so we're gonna snap the ball, and we're just gonna see how that looks. All right, you see it? He moved, he did his activity. Boom, they got the sack. Okay. So then now let's look at another stunt. All right, so D on the D pad, RB for stunts. So now let's hit A. So boom, we look at A. Now we notice that it's the defensive end squeezing the inside, and our nose tackle is staying in the B gap and squeezing underneath, right? So let's hit A. Let's see what happens. Boom, you see how one went into the other, and we get the sack. Okay, so that's basically to show you from what the defensive line on the left side on the first screen of your audible selection. Let's turn it over to the second screen where it has right pirate, right temp, El Paso. Okay, and like we said, it's gonna be for the middle, and it's gonna be for the rest of the D line to be active in the stunt. Okay, so let's look at what we got going on here. See our D lines coming in all through their standard stock gaps, right? Now we're gonna go to stunts. We're gonna go to the middle page, and let's do right temp 4 man. Boom. Now let's look at it. As we can see, we got 2 aggressive stunts on the left side, and then we have 1 aggressive stunt coming off the right side. Okay, and let's check it out and see what that looks like. There it is. Boom. Okay, we got movement. All right, bet. So then now, lastly, let's look into our stunts one more time, and let's go 2 clicks to the left on the D-pad. 1, 2. And now we're on our last one, and that's going to be for the right defensive line side and their activity. Okay, so let's hit right exit 2 man. Okay, and let's look at the play. Boom. So you can see right side of the formation, of the defensive formation, or the offense, however you want to perceive your angle, right? And then now let's see how that looks from a stunt perspective. Boom, he went around, he's coming, putting pressure. Okay, boom. So as you can see, gang, those 3 portions dictate what side of the defensive line you want to be stunting, whether you want the left, whether you want the right, whether you want all 4 linemen to be producing some type of aggressive activity to help disrupt the offensive line, right? All right, guys. So now that we discussed how to use them and the defensive line stunts, what pages of audibles take you to what defensive line sides and the whole defensive line, their activity and what to do. Now let's try to talk a little bit more of the why and to when you'll be doing this. Okay. So one of the biggest things with the defensive line stunts is basically it's used in two ways. One, to disrupt all sense of assignments the offensive line and the quarterback think they can identify. Second, smaller defensive lines have harder troubles going against bigger guys on the offensive line. So by creating these stunt opportunities, you're giving them a little bit more of an advantage because now you don't know who's stepping into where and what could be coming. So now you put the offensive line at a disadvantage. Meanwhile, your defensive line has the upper hand because they know where they're going. Offensive line does not know where they're going. Does that make sense? Okay. Now that we're moving past that. So let's see what we got going on here. We're going to hit our stunts. We're going to do, let's do a basic left exit 2-man, right? Let's say, okay, we know that this defensive line is going to avoid that gap, right? So these are some things that we're going to have to think and consider. Okay, if the defensive tackle is going to avoid that gap, this defensive end is going to be coming into the gap, and this is your user. We have to worry about two things. If it's going to be run or pass, right? If he passes the football, let's see. Boom. You see that quarterback lane open up? Something to think about. If I kept going my linebacker and kept playing my zone, this, let's do it again. Let's see it. Boom. We're doing left exit 2-man. Let's check it out. All right, we know that defensive tackle is leaving that gap. Now watch this. If I evade too far back, there's a huge quarterback running lane. Now, mind you, the DN did his stunt effectively and was jumped right into it. Let's see if we can get that animation one more time. All right, let's go here. We're going to hit Y. All right, we're going to snap the ball. And, all right, see how that time he didn't get it fully as he did before. Let's see what that looks like. Check it out. All right. Defensive lineman snaps the ball. All right. Boom. He jumped into the gap how he wanted. But let's look at it. So, look. This is our stunt right here. Okay. So what's that tell me I can do? I'm playing this area right here. See if I can move up. This little gap between this little space and that little space, I'm using it with my user. Boom. Let's see. Right. All right. Boom. Okay. So now, why would I want to use these stunts? Right? Why do I want to, what's telling me instead of just leaving it like this? Why do I want to do that? Like I said, it's going to disrupt the offensive line. And also your quarterback is not going to know what gaps are available to him as soon as he snaps the ball. Right? Because now we have disguise. We have, like I said, an advantage. Okay. So let's go here. Let's hit the Y left exit 2-man. Let's do this one more time. All right. And let's see how this plays out. Boom. He went through. Step up was a little difficult, but it was there, and those were the opportunities. Okay, let's keep moving forward, game. So when to use them? So in the past, right, what we can do if we want to get sticky with it is we can now send a linebacker blitz. So we're going to do the same stunt, left exit 2-man, boom, right? Now we know that this area right here is going to open up, because this defensive lineman right there in front of my linebacker is going to evade to this side of the ball, right? Let's show it. Boom, boom. Oh, okay, what up? Boom. All right. So there he is. So we know he's going that way. So let's say I want to send my linebacker on that blitz. So then now, let's, sometimes when you do, what I have noticed though, is that sometimes when you do certain stunts with linebackers blitzing, if you do the stunt first and then blitz your linebacker, it's going to reset the whole play for some reason. I don't know why, but that's just how they do it. So then now, I got my linebacker ready to blitz. I got my stunt on my D line. Let's see how this plays out. You see how that worked? Okay, let's do it one more time. Let's blitz the linebacker. Let's stunt our defensive tackle. All right, and that's going to be the move right there. All right, and we shot the gap. Now, mind you, with the identifier, right, with that new identifier of blitzing to ignore, identify, quarterback's not going to know whether or not we're blitzing or not blitzing, and when to not identify, right? So think of that to your advantage, especially when you're playing these more high-powered offenses, right? Okay, so let's try now. So let's see. So that let's create some more havoc, right? Let's do a two-man left text, right? If we look, we have our DN going that way. I'm gonna send my linebacker. Let me see what I got here. I'm sending my linebacker. I'm doing my stunt left text. Let's go, excuse me, left text right here. Boom. Now we're going to be funneling that A and B gap very aggressively. So that tells me that I want to sit up here with this safety. And there they come. There they go. Pressure, pressure. Okay. Also, what we have to consider is just pass plays. When it comes to running plays, these are things that we're going to execute as well. Because now watch this. Let's do a zone inside, right? And let's identify our mic. So then now, I know we're doing zone inside. Me as a defensive caller now, I see that the running back's on his right side. I could literally say, okay, the only options he were to go if he were to run is he does have three, well really two. He's either gonna run it to the left or it's gonna be a power to the backside or a counter to the backside, right? But that's the only way he would dictate to go to the right versus going to the left. But majority tells us he's probably could go or would want to go left because where his running back's placed. All right, so say we don't want him to know that we understand the leverage that he has, right? We don't want him to know that, or we're expecting a run, right? Because we're not dumb. We have experience playing, so we're expecting a run. So this is what one could do with just our stunts alone. Let's pop up our D-line, right? Boom, stunts. Okay. Now let's do our left exit two-man. Okay. Boom. So now we have not only the linebacker here on the zone coverage. This guy is going to the left. This guy is going to the right. And if you notice, that's going to be the two gaps that he has available to him, right? Because this linebacker technically is filling here. This guy's filling here, or realistically, these two zones right here, depending on where our D-line goes. So let's check that out. We're going to run the ball. You saw how we did that there? So let's go into instant replay. Now look at it. What I tell you, what's that gaps we're going to be holding down on? So my guy goes in. He's working to the left. So my D tackle, if you notice him, he's working to our left, his right, aggressively based on the stunt. The defensive end is holding the contain of the perimeter, right? And here's my user filling the gap, finding the hole, and shooting it where he's got to go. Boom. Right? As you can see that. So now all these thoughts and ideas are for you to take into account and put it into a perspective that you understand, but can grasp what I'm trying to do here and what can be potentially done. I'm not a pro player. I'm not a significant YouTuber, but I am trying to get there. So please just try to bear with me. And if you have any questions, just throw it in the comments. So look, I scraped into the first read. Boom. Now, mind you that I should be knowing. Let's go back out of here. Okay, let's put him on a run play. The same play. All right. Let's say the same stunt. We're going pressing Y. All right. I know as a linebacker user, there's going to be activity right here. So my first read is going to be right here. Right? And let's check it out. And you see how we filled that gap? So let's go to instant replay. All right. So what do we say? Those two, that D-line is going where? He's pushing pressure to the right of him, right? Where my first read, I'm looking at the A gap, checking it, check, and then scrape to the outside. And then now we see our safety perfectly aligned in his run fit. And look, scrape. And if he were to cut back inside, we have our linebacker scraping and our safety there to make a play. So that's how you need to identify it. Mind you, go through your list, and like I said, that the first one's gonna be for the left side of the defense, the middle's gonna be for the whole defensive line, the last one's gonna be for the right side of the defense, and how heavy they act and behave on the stunt per se. All this is gonna dictate your user on what holes to fill, and try to play the chess game of where your running back could be running the ball. All right, guys, that wraps up the video. But if we had to relook at everything, we went through the basics. We told you the why and when. We showed different run concepts for you to understand. And this is going to be the new vibe for the new year. Like, regardless, as the meta plays start funneling in, as people start finding the glitchy defensive plays, this right here takes it back to organic football. This right here is going to disrupt the offensive line. This right here is going to help you with a smaller defensive line. Say you got faster guys, but they're small. This is how you're going to maneuver them. So, gang, don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, share the video. If you have any questions or you think I could do something better, definitely comment in the video below, because I'm trying to get better. I want y'all to play the best game you can, but there are some things we have to understand as a collective in order to move the group forward. So, Mr. Klaus, the official Pay to Play Games YouTube channel, we're out, gang. Till next time.